When news broke last September about Diddy's arrest, Katt Williams didn't miss a beat. He jumped on Instagram stories and reshared an AI-generated mashup of Diddy's mugshot blended with Wesley Snipes' character from New Jack City, captioning, "It all nom, Diddy about to snitch on everybody." That post went viral instantly. Fans flooded social media echoing the same sentiment. If anyone was going to flip to save himself, it'd be Diddy. But Katt's jab wasn't just a random punchline. Let's not forget his old podcast episodes, the ones where he casually dropped names like Tyler Perry, Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, and Ludacris. At the time, it all seemed like bitter comedy or personal beef. But fast forward, and many of the same names, along with Jay-Z, Aaron Hall, Harv Pierre, and others, now appear in actual court documents tied to Diddy's legal troubles. Turns out, Katt wasn't just talking, he was leaving a trail. And now, we're connecting the dots between what looked like wild stand-up rants and what's shaping up to be a federal scandal.
Love Shay Shay, yeah. I was trying to do something there that hadn't been done. I thought that I had figured out the algorithm mathematically, and I thought that I could show that. And when I wrote it out to kill the careers of the people I was talking about, right? But it was so vicious that I erased all of the knockout blows and just left the jabs so that the comic I'm talking about knows that I know your real story. Motherfucker. I'm gonna tell this, but you know what else I know. So, yeah, I was...
Do you want to tell any of those stories now?
Well, I'm saying. Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. T.G. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
So Katt Williams said it. The lawsuit started coming out right after he said it, and he said all would be exposed. He heavily implied, and this is again an allegation, that Lucien Grange was having some sort of a homosexual relationship with Diddy. So he is the person that controls Diddy, that Lucien Grange was aware of these parties, that Universal Music Group was aware of these parties, essentially that Diddy is the thug and the gangster working on behalf of Lucien Grange. They did not know that he was reporting them. I mean, when I read through that lawsuit, Rodney made it very clear that he had hidden cameras. And if you are a person like LeBron who says ain't no party like a Diddy party, you got Ashton Kutcher talking about what happens at Diddy parties stays at Diddy parties. And finally you learn via the press that actually Diddy has been collecting evidence on all of you and you don't know where those tapes are. That will buy your silence for quite some time because you're hoping that if you keep your head low, you're not going to be revealed as one of these people that was engaged in some of these acts, whether they were heterosexual or homosexual, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're just cheating on your wife and you don't want that to get out into the public. Maybe you were, as Katt Williams described it, in one of the rooms. He said you could just walk around the house. He said this on stage years ago, that you could walk around the house and you would see people engaged in various sex acts. And again, Katt Williams was someone who was dismissed as crazy and dismissed as a drug addict. And it turned out that, or it seems that if these allegations are proven to be true, and I believe they are, then he was telling the truth.
Do you think that like stars and get offered that kind of thing, like to compromise themselves sexually for entertainment?
I was as shocked as anybody about how powerful Harvey Weinstein was at the time that I was meeting with him and how he could not be told no. You follow what I'm saying?
They'll figure out some way.
Right, so I thought that didn't apply to me because I don't care about nothing but bitches and good business, right? In these scary situations, I don't even leave it up to me. Like, I'm gonna do what the superhero would do in this part of the movie, regardless.
That's a good way to think about things in general.
Yeah.
What would the superhero do right?
Another name that came up? Ricky Smiley. He didn't just stumble into fame. He learned the ropes behind closed doors at Diddy's exclusive Atlanta parties. These weren't your average parties. They were strictly invite-only, tightly, managed by Puffy's inner circle. If you got in, it meant you were chosen. Ricky made that list, and from there, he networked his way into radio gigs and eventually landed a hit TV show. Katt Williams once joked that Ricky only shines when he's in a dress, but the punchline carried more weight than it seemed. It wasn't just shade, it was a pointed reference to how Ricky's journey to the spotlight started at Big Boy headquarters, long before he ever stepped up to a mic.
I heard that you bought a military base in Alabama. Is that true? A military base?
As starving comedians would do.
Now, I don't know if you're being truthful or not. Did you really buy one?
Yeah, Fort McClellan. Yeah,
What?
because the reason why like my life works in golf and off the golf course is because I follow instruction well, right? Mm-hmm. So if I see somebody do a good job, I just want to do a good job.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow the example.
Yeah.
Right? So Tyler Perry got a military base.
That's correct.
Made it into a movie studio and started making movies. Katt Williams.
Bought a military base. Are you making movies?
I'm not wearing dresses. Making movies.
You're missing the point. At what point in Tyler Perry's career was he Samuel L. Jackson or Denzel Washington? Which are the only two black men I can think of that never had a dress on.
Yeah, but I don't think it's about
At what point? It is about that. It is about that because he's the only black man that we already established has $1 billion for making movies. He's the only black man with his own studio, but he's also putting out material where he got a goddamn dress on every year.
Because
every time you turn around, at every iteration of his success, be it the plays that took over and got him popular, be it the shit that he did on TBS, be it the first movies that he did, be it the movies that he does now. So what is his excuse for doing Madea content now?
Because there's an audience for it. There's an audience for it. There is an audience.
There's an audience for it.
Tyler Perry told his male actors they're not allowed to consort with me because I saw you at a Diddy party, Tyler. And you were having a glorious time. I spent a lot of time in Miami and I snuck around Star Island quite a bit. I know Christian isn't lying, but I need him to tell me what happened to my friends. And I don't care how long it's been since I talked to them. They will always be my friends. Always. Tim and Durrett and Lamont Rucker were not the same after they went on camera with Tyler Perry. Christian, I think you can tell me why.
Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer didn't escape Katt Williams' fire either. He's publicly accused Harvey of stealing a TV show concept he once pitched, and says Cedric lifted one of his best jokes over 20 years ago. On the surface, it sounds like classic comedic beef, headline-worthy sure, but there's more to it. Both Harvey and Cedric have shared stages and smiles with Diddy at high-profile charity galas bankrolled by Bad Boy. They've hosted events claiming to raise millions for education and youth programs, each time publicly thanking Diddy. But those moments weren't just photo ops. They were power plays, subtle endorsements that tied them into Puffy's wider circle. Behind those tuxedos and stage lights lies a network of influence the public rarely gets to see.
Let Ricky Smiley sit here and you said out that mouth, you stole Friday After Next, the one I was in. I wish all of America fumbled a bit when that happened. He told everybody, it should have been my role. Everybody on the scene. Why do you think no cast member has ever said anything?
He couldn't have played that role like you. I thought he was...
Sir, no one... Why no... He was with KD? He beat up Terry Crews? Why nobody know this story? And Hollywood has never heard this in 100 years. He was so egregious, I put in my contract that I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress. Now, what was Ricky Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday? Did he wear a dress in it? You bet he did. It's in my contract. That's why I can't let Ricky Smiley say he was supposed to play Money Mike, because I wrote the words for Money Mike. I put in my contract that I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress. Now, what was Ricky Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday? Did he wear a dress in it? You bet he did. It's in my contract.
Why would you put that in your contract, Katt?
That's where he's a believable actor. Him and Tyler Perry can't play a man to save their life. They play good women, and I believe that the best actor should be in the best role.
But when you reported a long time ago that Jamie, that he mysteriously got sick.
Yeah, mysterious. They looked at that allegedly was Diddy. But how do you,
But when you reported that back then, months ago, did you say, what was that in your reporting?
Yeah, they were saying that Diddy, because Diddy and Jamie Foxx were good friends. And they broke up, they stopped being friends. And they just, no, Gary, not doing no. No, I'm doing that. I'm telling what they said. Who was they?
They that wait.
They that wait on the Lord.
You put some mess out there.
All right, y'all, we're going to wrap up the house.
I Googled you to see what are the questions that people are wanting to know. Is Ricky Smiley married?
No.
Have you ever been married?
I was married.
Oh, you were?
I was married for 12 years.
When?
Man, I was married back
Did I know you?
Back in the 90s. I think we probably had met and had been around each other, but my ex-wife, we are still close. She's a flight attendant for Delta.
Oh, okay.
And we was married, we was young, and I was married for 12 years.
Wow.
I had a beautiful, she's beautiful.
And y'all broke up after 12 years because...
Comic View, I started doing Comic View and the streets started hitting.
Oh, no!
It even stretches into the church. T.D. Jakes once preached at a gospel concert sponsored by Diddy's team. But this wasn't your average Sunday service. The event had platinum seating, velvet ropes, and press walls that looked more like a music launch than a ministry. Behind the hymns and holy messages sat music execs and influencers, all handpicked by Bad Boy's PR machine. Katt Williams casually name-drops Jakes as one of the major deviant figures likely to be exposed. It might sound bizarre at first, but the implication is clear. Diddy's influence wasn't limited to clubs and studios. It infiltrated pulpits too. Pop culture and faith fused under one lavish, tightly controlled, and possibly sinister umbrella.
Comedy Jam 25. It's good to see so many funny people together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams gonna show up?
Shit, I'm nervous as hell right now.
Oh, he's right there.
There he is. What up?
I didn't know he was right there. I would not have said that if I had seen him. Yeah. Not used to quiet, introspective Katt Williams.
No. Well, let me ask you this. When have you ever seen this many heavy hitters all together at the same time? In the same room. Yeah.
Right. All right, Jen is with me now to talk about another story making headlines today.
Yeah, so this one is actually sparked by these pictures. That's 49-year-old P. Diddy with his hand on his girlfriend's belly. Now, that is 22-year-old Lori Harvey. They're in Cabo. She's, of course, talk show host Steve Harvey's stepdaughter. People are talking about maybe she could be pregnant. You know, he's rubbing her belly a little bit, but...
She's put up some Instagrams, I think, that show some clues. Sushi, right? Sushi, a bad thing for pregnancy.
It could go either way. But then also she posted this picture of green juice, which, you know, why would you want a flatter tummy if you really can't avoid it because you're carrying a child?
Ooh, this is conflicting evidence. Okay. Lori was once actually linked to Diddy's son, Justin.
Okay.
Okay, so they were together and then engaged a couple years ago to a Dutch soccer player. She told Carissa Thompson about how he popped the question.
We were in Malibu. I remember the
Were you
time. It was
freaking out?
11:30. I thought it was a joke, and then he went in his pocket, and I started shaking.
They split up later on that year. Lori and Sean were actually spotted with her dad, Steve, on a boat in Italy earlier on this summer.
That's all. Well, then that's it. He's given the blessing. They're together.
Kevin Hart doesn't escape the spotlight either. Katt Williams calls him an industry plant, claiming that Hart's rise, from ride-along to night school, was no accident. According to Katt, those projects only got the green light after moving through Diddy's inner circle. Check the credits closely, and you'll often spot Puffy's venture arm, sometimes tied to the soundtrack, other times as executive producers. Even Hart's stand-up specials found homes on platforms, where Bad Boy had existing distribution deals. These aren't just business coincidences, they're part of a clear pattern. Hart's climb to the top wasn't just about talent and hustle, it ran parallel to Diddy's expanding empire. And as for what Hart may have exchanged for that ride, only Katt seems to know.
So yeah, TD Jakes is on that list.
On that list.
And, you know, Katt Williams, I don't know if he's a Christian or not. I don't think he is. His mouth would say maybe he's maybe has faith, but he's bearing fruits of repentance. But that podcast got, well over millions and millions of views because he just blasted the industry. And basically the whole thing is your career's here. If we give you money and you join in on this debauchery, you join in on this sodomy, you join in on this pedophilia, you join in on these rituals, your career will go from here to here. And that's actually been seen if you look at a lot of different careers, including Taylor Swift's. She actually started rubbing shoulders with P. Diddy a long time ago, and then all of a sudden her career changed.
Now, we also know that TD Jakes is allegedly also a power bottom. And he's a much older man. And they say he's very enthusiastic in his endeavors. What happens when he pops something loose? You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because they're mentioning sex workers, but they're not mentioning women. They're mentioning men as sex workers.
Yeah.
Like is that a thing where like there's a website? I mean, what? It's just wild to hear like you mentioned the
You
normal.
never heard of Grindr?
I personally am not. That is what.
Why don't nobody ever talk about the fact that TD Cakes has an account allegedly on Grindr?
And then there's Ludacris, a name Katt Williams ties directly to the Illuminati in one of his most outlandish claims. According to Katt, only an organization with that kind of reach and power could have helped Luda land a $200 million deal. It sounds like part myth, part punchline, but beneath the conspiracy talk lies a history of real collaboration. They've appeared on each other's albums, shared festival stages, and honored Biggie together at tribute shows. These aren't random pairings. They reflect a long-standing alliance rooted in mutual benefit and deep industry ties. Katt dresses it up with secret societies and coded language. But the reality doesn't need any hidden symbols. The partnership between Ludacris and Diddy is clear, and it's been in motion for years.
He turned down $50 million 4 times.
No, he didn't.
To protect his integrity and his virgin hole.
No, he didn't. He did that. He did that to say that Kevin Hart took $50 million to unvirgin his hole.
Can you explain a little bit?
No, I just told you what happened with that.
So you don't believe Katt when he says that he turned down $50 million 4
No,
times?
I believe that was a punch at what he did, what Kevin Hart did for that movie Get Hard. He showed y'all what he did. He sucked Will Ferrell's to get hard. Oh. Now he's high. Now he's acting all hard. Every picture he's just short. He wasn't ready. All that. It's the same thing.
I said it, and this sums it up well. Like you don't entertain the circus, you watch it, right? And when a lion comes out and rides the bike, you don't think about it too hard. You just go, okay, that's crazy. The lion's riding a bike, and then you go home and enjoy the rest of your day. I don't feed into the stuff at all. At the end of the day, it's all entertainment to a certain degree. So you just hope that people can be smart enough and have a tremendous amount of logic to just go and possibly do research or fact check. And if they do, then great. If they don't, then kudos to that as well. I just don't have the time for it. There's too much going on.
In my opinion, one of the ones that affects me the most is Justin Bieber.
Do you have the Kevin Hart one?
Which is iPad, because he gets caught saying that he would wake up next to him and then he changes it and says we would fight off over the Frosted Flakes. Even Kevin Hart is uncomfortable because you're admitting that you were sleeping next to a freaking child. And it's like, I'm tired of hearing all these stories and people just laugh about it. We giggle. Like, this is it right here.
That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and
I mean, damn, pause.
Look,
like,
pause.
I mean, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was
10 years
a little
old.
bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted
Wake up,
Flakes.
Taylor
because
Usher.
He used to always get up early. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
What the fuck did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this for me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid.
But how does all of this connect to Diddy and his ongoing legal battle? To understand that, we need to rewind to March 2024. That's when federal agents raided Sean Diddy Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami, seizing electronics and documents as part of an explosive sex trafficking investigation. By September, the case had escalated. A grand jury indicted him on charges including racketeering, sex trafficking, and illegal transport. Then came the bombshell in December, court filings that left even hardened reporters shaken. Among the most shocking revelations was the allegation that Diddy and Jay-Z, along with a man named Shan Carter, drugged and assaulted a 13-year-old girl following the 2000 MTV VMAs. What started as whispers and jokes in stand-up routines is now unraveling into a dark, far-reaching scandal.
Are you related to Luda?
No, so we were both invited to an Illuminati thing. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person they said was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Katt Williams. I didn't get it. I'm not mad about it.
How much money they give? 200?
Sir, Fast and Furious is on what number right
10.
now?
Did you start to worry any about your own safety and stuff?
Well, what it was that I was attempting to do was impossible. So before I do this interview, there is no Illuminati. It's just a joke. It's just something that crazy people talk about. There's no such thing as our side and God's side. None of that is even real. I gotta come and make it real. So that's why when I said that, nobody came out and went, that's not true, I'm on God's side. If part of the ritual is wearing a dress, then we should be able to look through entertainment and see all of these people being made to wear a dress.
Yeah, you don't see the dog catcher show up every other year.
Like, it's not a thing.
In a nice skirt, or you don't see an electrician.
Right. So
come up in a blouse every now and then.
The indictment also paints a disturbing picture of control. It alleges that the 54-year-old Diddy maintained dominance over his victims through a mix of manipulation and coercion, supplying them with drugs, dangling financial support and housing as leverage, and threatening to take it all away if they didn't comply. He's also accused of promising career breakthroughs while closely monitoring their movements and even dictating how they looked, right down to their physical appearance. These aren't just accusations of abuse. They suggest a calculated system of power and exploitation.
Like this, obviously, you're not making any kind of a dynamic entry. This isn't a hostage situation, right? Where that's not what's happening here. However, they did know that there would be weapons there, armed security, those kinds of things. That's why you saw those warrants being served by, for the most part, a tactical SWAT team. Simply, that is procedure to keep everyone safe. A lot of people were frustrated when they saw the video that came out of the warrant, that his home was, in, I guess, disarray. But again, and I had said this before, my gut said they were looking for digital evidence, which is in that indictment. There's a lot of mentions to digital evidence. And that's why they tore up couch cushions. That's why they made holes in walls. They were looking for flash drives, tiny devices where these things were stored. And so all of that is done methodically. It's all cataloged. And in a case like this, where you're not necessarily rushing, to put out a fire or something like that, it was all done in a very methodical way. You typically go through room by room to catalog all of that evidence.
The federal indictment of Sean Diddy Combs has been unsealed. His charges: trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs. and he often electronically recorded them. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims.
The indictment also alleges the 54-year-old maintained control over his victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, promising career opportunities, monitoring their whereabouts, and even dictating physical appearance.
The rapper Jay-Z has been accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000, allegedly along with Sean Diddy Combs. Our US correspondent Martha Kellner has the latest from Los Angeles.
This civil suit was originally filed back in October against Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy. It has now been amended to also include allegations against Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter. In this civil suit, a woman says that when she was a 13-year-old girl back in the year 2000, that she attended an after party for the MTV Video Music Awards, during which she says she was raped by Jay-Z and P. Diddy. She says that Jay-Z removed her clothes, pinned her down and raped her while P. Diddy and an unnamed female celebrity watched on. She says she was then raped by P. Diddy as Jay-Z and this female celebrity watched on once again.
Even Diddy's own son, Justin Combs, isn't untouched by the scandal. He's been accused of helping organize so-called freak-off parties, secretive, high-profile gatherings that allegedly involved underage girls. The allegations were serious enough that during the federal raid, agents placed him in handcuffs. Yet despite the gravity of the situation, Justin has not been formally charged. His involvement remains a chilling reminder of how deep and wide this alleged network of abuse might run, right into Diddy's own household.
Justin Combs, you've been indicted with your dad. Now, ain't that something, God? Ain't that something how LeBron, right, and his son will be the first father-son to play a game in the NBA? And P. Diddy and his son will be the first father and son to get indicted and go to federal prison for messing with little boys. Ain't that about something? The apple don't fall too far from the tree, y'all, man. And I tell you all the time, man, you have to watch what you do around your kids because they're watching everything. And in his case, man, he watched what his dad did and his dad allowed him to do these things with him. But hey, man, he was named in that indictment yesterday with those 120 people. You dig what I'm saying? 25 of them being minors. But that's kind of crazy that a younger man would love a minor. But hey, man, I hope they was using condoms.
About 30 different law enforcement vehicles at least. There are 3 Bearcats on scene here. This just all unfolded, Sandra, I would say, less than 10 minutes ago. We got here even before the crime scene tape came up. So we're just down the hill. If you look up this street where Tony is right now to the right, you'll see one of those Bearcats and law enforcement. And on the other side of those bushes, basically, is that home that is registered to Bad Boy Films, which is part of Bad Boy Entertainment.
Former Bad Boy artist Kenna Harper has also stepped forward, serving as a key witness to the alleged abuse Diddy inflicted on his ex, Cassie Ventura. The shockwaves didn't stop there. Even major industry titans were briefly pulled into the storm. Interscope co-founder Jimmy Iovine and Universal Music CEO Lucian Grange were both named in early filings, accused of either witnessing or influencing testimony. While Grange has since been removed from the case, the implications linger. And when Katt Williams sat down and called out celebrity after celebrity connected to Diddy, his list eerily echoed the very names showing up in court documents. Coincidence? Not likely. Not when it comes to Puff Diddy. What once sounded like wild conspiracy or comedic exaggeration now reads like a blueprint for a scandal decades in the making.
New revelations show that after Don Richard filed her lawsuit against Diddy, he allegedly bombarded his former bandmate Kalena Harper with over 50 calls in one day and reached out a total of 128 times over 4 days. Prosecutors say that these calls were attempts to sway her testimony, part of a broader pattern of trying to gaslight and manipulate witnesses. Can you blame Kalina for distancing herself from the situation? She came under fire for posting that Richard's claims did not align with her experience, and some people criticized her for what it seemed like defending Diddy. Given the pressure, it is understandable that she would want to clarify her stance, especially with Diddy reportedly trying to reach out so persistently. Apologize to this woman. She's a victim too.
Well, let's do it then.
They gonna do? Put kids in jail for hitting a super soaker? What the they gonna do?
Oh, that'd be horrible.
Y'all be some pissy motherfuckers. Go that if you want to. Fuck the picnic.
All right, Jag, one got to go when all their works.
Let me see that again.
So we have a Jimmy.
Leon Cole.
Oh shit! I gotta say who they are.
Abner Bromowitz.
Jimmy Iovine.
Leon Cohen.
Clive Davis. Barry Gordy.
Leon Cohen.
Now this is all his work. YouTube Music.
Fuck that Jew bitch.
So all his. You say he Jay-Z. All that is. Damn.
These aren't just rumors or conspiracy theories circulating online. These claims are backed by official court documents, federal indictments, and sworn statements. As these cases move toward trial in May 2025, each name on this list highlights the vast and deep reach of Sean Diddy Combs' empire. Whether these celebrities knew what they were getting into, or simply found themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time, one thing is certain. When Katt Williams says he's exposing every celebrity in Diddy's circle, he's drawing from the same legal filings that reveal a troubling and expansive web of alleged misconduct involving major stars.
Would you please start a podcast? The community will freak out. Everyone knows you speak the truth. I do not enjoy listening to me talk. So if I did a podcast, it would have to okay, the answer is yes. Fine, I'll do the podcast, and I'm working on it. All right, there you go, Tim.
If you're as shocked by these names as we are, make sure to like this video and drop your thoughts in the comments. Who caught you off guard the most? Who do you think will fight back? We're eager to hear your opinions. And don't forget to hit subscribe and click the bell so you won't miss the next chapter in this story. Thanks for watching.